From then on, Matsumoto visited the compound regularly to check up on the men of the Shinsengumi. Ever since Sannan had become the leader of the Furies, the group was named as the Fury Corps. Still, I couldn't help but wonder, was it really all right to continue researching the Furies? My heart was heavy with worry. Without him, the Shinsengumi would be nothing. We would cease to exist. If so, why? But why? But why, Mouse, are you sticking up above the thing when I specifically told you to stay down there? So rude. After the dust cleared following the Hamaguri rebellion, the shogun set about cleaning house. The Choshu expedition was launched by the shogun once the Choshu domain were declared enemies of the court. Perhaps feeling they dodged a bullet, the Choshu domain fell silent for a time. Their obedience was short-lived, however, and before long their disrespect for the shogun became impossible to ignore. In order to investigate further, the shogunate decided to send an envoy to the Choshu domain. Kondo was asked to accompany an envoy sent to the Choshu to investigate their behavior. However, the Choshu domain refused to even meet with the envoy. Fed up with their insubordination, the shogunate ordered the second Choshu expedition. However, the war was a costly one, exhausting both the resources and the men from all over the domains whose morale began to falter. To add to the fire, word of Shogun Iemochi's passing shook all of Japan, and some domains even withdrew, which made the situation even dire. The second Choshu expedition had ended in a surprisingly major loss for the shogunate troops. October 1866. The pillar of the Tokugawa shogunate, which stood strong for 260 years, was beginning to show signs of instability. But the frogs and birds are still singing. That day, I was accompanying Saito on his rounds. It sure has been hot lately. I've gotten used to the city of Kyoto, but I just can't get used to this humid heat. And this guy's still in his jacket. Indeed. I always wondered. Even in midsummer, Saito always wore his full uniform. Wasn't he hot? He kept his vigilant guard up while observing the city of Kyoto. We can begin with this store and do our rounds. Wait here, Yukimura. There is nothing for you to do inside. All right. He gave me a short nod of confirmation and stepped into the shop with his men. It's the Shinsengumi. There are rumors floating around about Ronin coming in and out of here, so I'll have to inspect your store. Yes, sir. Of course. I had been waiting for Saito and his division for a few minutes when I noticed a commotion nearby. Hey! Out of the way! You got a couple patriots coming through here! A number of rather unpleasant-looking Ronin were making their way in my general direction, yelling, threatening, and intimidating anyone unfortunate enough to cross their path. Patriots? Hardly. Perhaps they considered themselves loyal to the imperial court, but they looked like the sort who only used their supposed patriotism as an excuse to steal and kill. Hey, you deaf! I told you to move! The Ronin tossed a poorly aimed kick at a child playing in the street. What should I do? It seemed like the warriors were preoccupied with their investigation in the store, just as I was about to stop the Ronin.
Desist, you hooligans!
What's this? You think you can tell us what to do, lady? Ha! A woman wants to pick a fight with us? Patriots loyal to the Emperor?
Well, perhaps it is you who should feel pathetic for being told by a woman to stop. Don't you know how much trouble you're causing to the Kyoto civilians?
You bitch! The man's obviously short fuse had been lit. He made a grab for the girl and missed. I suspected his next attack wouldn't be as inaccurate. I couldn't let that happen. Wait! When I had come to my senses, I noticed that I had instinctively taken action. I had positioned myself in front of the girl, protecting her. Who are you? You know this broad? No, I don't. Then how's about you keep your damn nose out of my goddamn business?
Flecks of spit flew from his mouth as he roared at me, and my legs suddenly felt somewhat weaker than they had a moment ago.
But I was committed. I couldn't run now.
If you truly love your country, as you say, then why do you abuse women and children? A samurai should protect common people, not attack them.
What did you say? That's right. You tell him, son. How do you like that, you damn Ronin? Patriot my ass. Get out of my city.
Something about my speech must have struck a chord with the gathering crowd. With the cheers, my legs started to regain some of their usual steadiness.
You son of a bitch!
With a rough hiss of metal, the Ronin's sword leapt from its scabbard. Gah! I suddenly discovered I had difficulty swallowing. I could try to dodge, but if I did, he might hit the girl my actions had intended to protect. I was about to draw my sword. But luckily I didn't need to. Huh? Thank you! Slowly, carefully, I opened my eyes.
You needn't worry. I used the back of my sword.
Saito!
You... Take them to headquarters. They may be Choshu. Yes, sir!
Working quickly, Saito's men set to work binding the Ronin for transport. Saito's cold eyes fell on me. Sorry.
That was reckless. Why didn't you call me? What were you going to do if they hurt you gravely?
I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. But I couldn't help myself. I mean, what if she were to get injured? What if I was to sneeze? What then, Saito? What would I do? Okay, I think the sneezing fit is over. The gentleman is right. You were dreadfully reckless. I had the situation quite well in hand. A scolding from Saito was expected, but I hadn't thought that my erstwhile damsel in distress would contribute. I'm sorry I made you worry. I gave her a short, slightly confused bow, to which she blinked as if suddenly remembering something very important. Oh, but you did save me, didn't you now? And I haven't yet thanked you. How crude of me. Thank you. Oh, well, I didn't do anything. It was Saito and his men who made the actual arrest. Oh, you needn't be so modest. It's way more respectful than just being a bystander. I suspect that this, our meeting here, is Providence. Young ladies must watch out for one another here in the city. What? Saito glanced from her to me, and an expression flashed across his face that I couldn't quite place.
You can't expect to fool everyone. There's no need to worry about it.
Oh dear. Was it supposed to be a secret? Perhaps I shouldn't have mentioned it. Well, I wasn't entirely sure how to respond. How does a person respond to that sort of question? She seemed to sense my confusion and gracefully moved on. I'm terribly sorry, but I don't believe I've even asked your name. How terribly boorish of me. I should very much like to be friends, but it is difficult to become acquainted with the nameless. Might I inquire as to who you are, then? Well, this is... Oh, I know who he is. Mr. Saito, yes. The Shinsengumi is frightfully famous here. And you are? My name is Chizuru Yukimura. It's nice to meet you. Yukimura? Her eyes grew wide as if she were surprised, and she stared intently at me. Your last name is Yukimura? Were you born in the East? Why, yes. I was living in Edo, but I had come to Kyoto for a certain reason. She was acting a little strange, so I tried to speak to her, and she laughed and looked up. Oh, I'm sorry. It's nothing. It was the same last name as my acquaintance. I think Yukimura is a really pretty last name. You think so? Thank you. And it is a pleasure to meet you, Chizuru. You may call me Sen. Miss Sen? Nice to meet you. Oh, goodness, you needn't be so uptight. You look to be about my age, so I see no reason for us not to speak as equals.
So just send then?
Yes, I suppose that will do. We must meet again sometime, Chizuru.
She gave my hand a gentle squeeze, then turned and left, her kimono flapping behind her. Our encounter was over before I'd had a chance to grasp what was even happening, and so I simply stood, stunned, for a moment or two. Sayato was eyeing Sen walking off, and eventually he turned to me.
That girl seemed to be rather curious about your last name.
I know, huh? She did say it was the same as her acquaintances. Well, I guess Yukimura isn't an uncommon name either. It seemed like Sayato was concerned with her reaction to my name, and he was deep in thought.
We're running behind our schedule. We should be going now.
Oh, yes! No sword shopping today. So we continued on our rounds, trying to withstand the scorching heat. The heat wave ended up lasting several days. On one such day...
Pardon me, Yukimura. Is the batch of tea I prepared good enough?
Oh, it may be better to make them lukewarm. It's still quite hot today, you know.
Ah, I see. You're amazing.
This young man is Kazue Soma. He joined the Shinsengumi just before summer began. He's very serious and respectful. Kondo supposedly met him when he was in Choshu for the envoy, and he invited Soma to join us. Now he currently works as Kondo's page. I guess he grew fond of the Shinsengumi, and he was focused on learning about all that it takes to become a successful warrior.
Then maybe we could water it down.
But if you do that, then the tea's flavor will become lighter.
Oh. Hey, Soma, what are we supposed to do then?
Why don't we cool it down with the well water?
Oh, that's a good idea. Let's give it a try.
This energetic lad is Risaburo Nomura. He joined the Shinsengumi around the same time as Soma, and because of their closeness in age, Nomura became Kondo's page in training. For him, he was a huge fan of the Shinsengumi, and he joined them because of it. That left me to make sure that I teach them about all of the duties and responsibilities that go into becoming a page. Which was harder than I thought. The tea doesn't have to be room temperature, just a little cooler to offset the hot weather. So, first, prepare some warm water rather than boiling hot, then try brewing it. That way it doesn't dilute the tea's flavor.
Whoa! Wow, okay, I see. Wow, you sure do know a lot about this stuff.
I agree. It's very educational.
Thanks? Well, as for the tea, I'll pour some and take it to them, so you two...
What do you want us to do? We'll do anything.
Yes, indeed. Let us know.
Alright guys, you two are going to do some sword training with me. What's the matter? You don't want to do it?
No! Please train us.
Well, as for me, I have some work to do.
Hey, you're a newbie. Don't be shy now.
Nomura, come on now. This training is what will make us great warriors.
That's not training, that's pure hazing.
Well, I'll be taking them off your hands for the moment.
Okay. Please, take care of them. Soma gulped deeply, and he looked nervous. Nomura, on the other hand, looked ready to cry as Nagakura dragged both of them off to training. I wish the two of them the best of luck. Soma's route should be pretty interesting. Haven't interacted with him very much outside of that tea scene. Here is some parched barley tea, Kondo. Supposedly it lowers the body's temperature.
Oh, thank you. The tea you pour is always easy to drink. It's perfect, Yukimura.
Thank you. He was deep in thought, arms crossed and stern. Things were bad since Lord Iamochi's death. Kondo especially was having a difficult time. Perhaps it was best if I simply left him alone. I turned and had already begun to walk away when he spoke.
Matsumoto is examining Soji right now.
Did he know about Okita's illness? What did he say?
He hasn't said anything yet. I hope it's nothing serious. If something happened to Soji, I don't know how I'd be able to face her.
Her?
When we left for Kyoto, Mitsu, his older sister, asked me to look out for him.
Oh, Okita has an older sister?
He does. They lost their parents when they were children, so Mitsu was Soji's parental figure and raised him.
Ah, I see. Okita seems to have been through a lot.
Well, he is an honest man. I'm sure he didn't think he went through a lot.
Seriously. To call a twisted man like him honest, I think you would be the only person in all of Japan who'd say that. Oh, Hijikata.
Oh, Toshi, how are you? Did you want some tea too?
No, I don't need any, but... Did you hear about the notice board over by Sanjo Ohashi Bridge?
Yes, I've heard. The notice board about the Choshu's crime, right?
Some assholes pulled it out and tossed it into the Kamo.
Of course, I heard about that as well. But I thought that they put the notice board back up the next day.
They did. Same thing happened. I think they're gonna ask us to keep an eye on it pretty soon.
It got torn down at night, didn't it? What do you say to using Sannan's Fury Core, then?
The Fury Core.
You think it's a bad idea?
They work hard enough, but... they tend to get a little excited. Whenever we give them something to do, they end up slaughtering the other side. That's not enough for them, though. They go in and hack the corpses to bits. Most of the time, they're not even recognizable. Maybe they're doing it to try and hide the Shinsengumi's hand, but they're going too far. We're not just a pack of murderers. I told them to knock it off, but they won't listen. They just want to play with their corpses. They keep this up and we're no better than those night cutters. I felt a shiver snake down my spine as he spoke. Even after a year, I remembered with terrifying clarity what I'd seen when I first arrived in Kyoto, the Furies. They'd behaved as if possessed by evil spirits, their swords mercilessly hacking away at dead men. It hadn't been hatred or fear that drove them, but some sort of twisted amusement. I didn't think I'd ever forget the half-mad smiles each had worn. I've got a few other ideas.
Good, good. I'll leave the details to you then, Toshi. Ah, yes. Have you heard about Lord Yoshinobu Hitotsubashi, the old guardian of the Shogun?
Yeah, what about him? I've heard a couple people say he's like Ieyasu reborn. I don't know about that, but I do hear he's pretty sharp. Before long, they'd started to discuss politics I didn't understand, and I politely excused myself. I thought back on what Hijikata had said. It was true Sannan had been acting strange, and the Fury Core had been getting more and more violent. There was a lot on my mind, but what worried me the most was... I guess the Furies... Or should it be Sen? I think it should be the Furies. Gotta keep an eye on that. Just as Hijikata had predicted, the Shinsengumi received an official request to guard the notice board at the Sanjo Ohashi Bridge. As it turned out, the vandals were 8 men from the Tosa domain. Harada and his division were well prepared, and captured them when they attacked at the Kamo River. Harada was given a reward by the Aizu for his service, and he took the rest of the captains to Shimabara to celebrate. And not me this time. I had remained at the temple to eat my dinner alone, but my heart felt like a lead weight in my chest, and it chased away any appetite I might have had. What's going to happen to the Shinsengumi and the Fury Core? Oh, hey. Almost as if on cue, the door slid open and Sannan stepped through. Oh, hello, Sannan. Can I help you?
Good evening. You didn't go to Shimabara with the others?
Yes, I'm not that great with drinking parties, so...
Ah, I see.
Sannan nodded in understanding, and his eyes beamed with color as he gazed at me. The cold full moon was visible, and maybe it was because of the nighttime. But Sannan's eyes possessed a tint of danger. Sannan?
So, what do you think? About the serum, the water of life, that is.
What do you mean?
Wouldn't you agree that the serum has had results beyond comprehension? After all, when my left arm rendered me useless, I looked to its properties for aid. And it seems all too clear to me now that it was fated for me to improve and perfect the serum. It's an unshakable truth.
Sannan's words slithered creepily, and I couldn't bring myself to stop staring at the floor to hide from his line of sight. His expression was so unfamiliar and nefarious, almost as if he was being possessed by something.
What is the matter? Why aren't you meeting me eye to eye? I'd expect you, of all people, to agree. You being the daughter of Kyoto, who brought this divine creation onto us.
It was obvious that Sannan was not acting as his usual self.
Why aren't you saying anything? It would be very regrettable if you were one to share the opinion of Dr. Matsumoto, who wants to bring the experiments to a halt.
I just remembered I have some chores that need doing, so I'll be... Just as I was on my way out...
Hold on a minute.
He roughly grabbed onto my wrists and yanked me.
Ah!
I pulled against his grip, but he was far too strong for me to overcome.
Please stop!
The horrible twitching madness in his eyes was too much for me, and I screamed. And my boys came. What are you grabbing her for, Sannan? That's not how you impress a lady. See, she's terrified.
Oh, I got caught up in the moment. I lost control. I apologize.
On the other side of his glasses, Sannan's eyes returned to normal. The glint of madness was gone. While I felt relieved, Sannan had walked off as the others were walking in. As I watched him walk off, I looked back at Okita and the men. It's good to see you back. You're a little earlier than I expected, though. I was expecting you guys to come way later.
Sano's gonna be drinking till morning, if Shin has anything to say about it. I didn't think I could handle that much, so I left with this pair of sticks in the mud.
It's only the three of you, then? What's the matter?
Hichikata caught the eye of a lady at Sumi called Kimikiku. She sat next to him the whole night.
Kimikiku?
Oh yeah, she was a beauty.
Come on, was she that pretty?
She totally was. Actually, I'm a little worried Sano might not have enough to pay for her.
That's so. Meh, I'm not one to say if a broad is hot or not. Hot or not. One of Kyoto's Gegi, huh? She was probably just as beautiful as Heisuke said. They must have made a beautiful couple. I gazed down at myself, small, plain, and dressed like a boy. Suddenly I felt very sad.
Is something wrong? You look unhappy.
Oh, no, it's nothing.
I imagine you're tired. Perhaps we should leave. You rest well, Yukimura.
I will. Thank you. Saito, always looking out for me. As Heisuke began to leave my room, something brought him to an abrupt halt and he turned to me.
Hey, do you get the feeling like Sannan has been acting a little more strange lately?
The two were silent, restrained by mixed emotions. Eventually, they both left the room. Even the captains who were with the Shinsengumi since Edo were beginning to grow suspicious of Sannan. I wonder what's going to happen from now on. Ah, that bean always looking out for me. After that, the rest of the warriors who'd gone to Shimabara returned, and they told me in great detail about the Sanjo notice board incident, but out of everything I'd heard, there was one thing in particular that caught my attention. They told me that when Harada and his men had been attacked at Sanjo Ohashi, one of them had seen someone who looked a lot like me. This strange person had tried to impede the Shinsengumi and sided with the vandals from the Tosa domain. I haven't left the temple, of course, and even if I had been at Sanjo Ohashi, I would never have tried to get in the Shinsengumi's way. But if it wasn't me, then who? What could it mean? This news only fed the anxiety that had been slowly building within me. No good. Now it's January. By the way, I've been forgetting to check my budding level with Saito this entire time. I'm gonna just check that quickly. Warrior record? Ooh, 50%. That's pretty darn good. December 1866. I was sweeping a section of the compounds despite being nearly frozen to the bone. Well, that should do it. I wanted to help out as much as I could, but since they still refused to let me out without an escort, there wasn't a great deal I could do. Still, I helped clean our home, and that felt good. Hopefully they'd like it too.
Cleaning, I see. You're certainly hard at work.
Oh, hello, Kondo. It's really gotten cold lately, hasn't it?
Yes, it has indeed. I've been in Kyoto a while now, but I still can't get used to the weather.
He rubbed his hands together and blew on them, in a mostly vain attempt to warm them up. I've picked up a bunch of dead leaves, so I was thinking about roasting potatoes later. Would you like some? They'll warm you up. Kondo gave me a little wry smile.
Roasted potatoes, huh? I used to enjoy that. A long time ago.
Oh. I flushed with embarrassment. Kondo was a busy man, as management of the Shinsengumi was not easy. A man like that didn't have time for roasting potatoes. You've been really busy lately. I hope you're taking care of yourself.
Oh, right. Well, if I'm busy, then that means that the Shinsengumi is needed. It's an honor.
True. In the last several weeks, Kondo and Hijikata had left the temple often to go meet with important shogunate officials. They scarcely had time to breathe, let alone relax. At that moment, almost as if my thoughts had summoned him, Hijikata appeared.
There you are, Kondo. Oh, Toshi, where were you? I was looking for you. They've chosen the next shogun. It's going to be Lord Yoshinobu Hitotsubashi. Him, huh? Well, no one else could probably do it, so he should just buckle down and accept the position instead of making a fuss about it. Toshi, that is not the way we should look at and speak of someone who's becoming the new shogun. They say the man is so wise that he is said to be an incarnate of Lord Ieyasu. Forget it. Doesn't really matter who the shogun is to us anyway. We're just here to fight for him. That's right. If we do our best, that means the shogun and the shogunate are safe and secure.
Only 20 days after Lord Yoshinobu had been officially inaugurated as the new shogun, the emperor suddenly passed away. It was especially hard on the emperor's younger sister, Kazunomiya, who had been married to Lord Ieyamochi and was intended to be a symbol of imperial unification, but everyone on both sides was shocked by his death. He was succeeded by the imperial prince, a young boy of only 15 years. In the turmoil, the activities of the Choshu domain went uninvestigated. The entire country of Japan found itself thrust into rapid motion. Things are going to start speeding up again pretty soon. We're getting there. End of December 1867, not quite January. The year had flashed before our eyes, and before we knew it, it drew to a close. It put us in high spirits, having experienced a year without any major battles or incidents. As everyone began gathering to celebrate the new year, we discussed our hopes for what was to come, and looked to welcome the season with open arms. Then, one snowy day in the middle of winter...
It's cold.
I felt its icy fingers trying to work their way under my blanket the moment I woke up. How rude. My breath puffed out in white clouds, and the light streaming in my window had an odd, bright quality. Was it possible? Snurr! Wow, this is new.
Oh, wow.
I looked outside and gasped. A few flakes were still drifting down, but it clearly snowed much harder overnight. The entire compound was white. I had thought it seemed colder than usual, and now I knew why. Wow, it looks so different. Huh? Amidst all the white, there was a column of black. A person. Was it... Saito! I hurried down the steps. He turned slowly and looked at me.
Oh, good morning. You've awoken early.
So have you. What are you doing out here by yourself?
I was at the dojo for my morning workout. On my way back, I noticed the snow and stopped.
He fell silent again and looked up at the sky, his face full of muted emotions I couldn't decipher. If you just finished training, aren't you, sweaty? I feel like you should dry off or you're going to get sick.
Shouldn't you be inside near the fire? They say that cold is the source of many illnesses.
He continued to stare at the falling snow and gave no indication that he meant to move. Oh, come on, don't turn my words against me. You're sweaty, you should get inside.
No, you're cold, you should get in by the fire.
Ah, good grief. I glanced down at his hands. The cold had already turned his fingertips red, but he either hadn't noticed or didn't care. Do you like the snow? He didn't speak, but from the look on his face, I could tell what his answer would be. Look at that smile.
Snow is very powerful.
He looked up at the sky again, a faint smile pulling at his eyes. I don't think I've ever heard snow described that way. Powerful?
It covers everything, beautiful or ugly, and makes it the same. I almost feel as though I could let it cover me and become more pure.
He looked and sounded as somber and serious as he always did, but there was a small, satisfied smile on his face that I had never seen before. Eventually, he turned to look at me.
Shouldn't you leave? You aren't dressed for the cold.
No, I think I'll stay here and look at the snow with you a little bit longer. He looked at me for a moment with an expression I couldn't read.
You are strange.
Oh? You were wondering about this the entire time, and me looking at the snow with you, a fellow strange person, is strange. Okay. He turned back around as the snow fell silently around us. He blinked and looked at me.
Is something wrong? Do you wish to speak?
Should I get your jacket? I don't know about either of these. I feel like he's not concerned about the cold. Can we play? I was just thinking that maybe you'd like to, play in the snow instead of just watching it.
Play? What do you suggest?
Well, we could make a snowman or a fort or something. I guess a snowball fight wouldn't be very fun with just two people. His eyes widened. Did you say snowball fight? Snowball fight! Yes!
Snowman and a snow fort. That sounds like something a child might say.
Really? Am I that childish?
I did not intend to be rude. Pay it no mind.
He turned around again, slightly more quickly, I thought, and looked at the snow.
In any event, I doubt there is enough here to construct a snowman. It will likely have melted by afternoon.
Oh, yeah. But that means the snow's gonna be in perfect condition to make a snowman. Make a snowman. I felt a little smaller. He seemed to like the snow so much, but I felt like there had to be something I could do to make him happy. Of course. Oh, do you want to make a snow bunny? A snow bunny?
What is a snow bunny?
His eyebrows pulled down almost imperceptibly. Oh, come on, don't tell me you don't know. When I was a kid, I'd make them for my dad every time it snowed.
I've never heard of them.
Then I'll make you one right now. Hold on.
You don't need to trouble yourself on my account.
Oh, don't worry, it'll only take me a second. Run, run, run. As I spoke, I began to search the yard for berries and leaves to fashion its eyes and ears from. Saito didn't move and watched me silently as I trotted around in the snow. For a moment I felt like I was a child again, walking through the yard of my old home in the middle of the winter. Before long, all done! Here you go. I picked up the bunny gently and carried it to him. Oh, that's so cute! He's like, witchcraft! How did you make this? It's so cute!
I see. This is a snow bunny.
He stared at the thing in my hands. Yes! Isn't it cute? Here, I made it for you.
For me? What do you mean for me to do with it?
He was visibly confused, which for Saito was saying a lot. Oh, you don't like it? I swallowed and started to step back, but...
No.
He was silent for a moment, then...
Your hands are cold. When you return to your room, make sure to warm them.
Oh. Oh, we're holding hands. The smile on his face, he's like, hey, I could warm your hands, girl. Oh. Until he spoke, I hadn't realized that our hands were touching. I blushed. His long, slender fingers were cupped around my hands. Even through the stinging cold of the snow, I could feel a faint warmth from them.
Is something wrong? Your cheeks are red. Do you have frostbite?
No, that's not it. With his deep blue eyes looking into mine, I felt very shy suddenly and rushed to pull my hands away. You're gonna drop the bunny.
We should return. If you were to catch ill, Hijikata would be displeased with me.
Oh, right. He looked down at the snow bunny I had unceremoniously deposited in his hands when I withdrew and smiled.
I am pleased to receive your snow bunny. Unfortunately, I fear it will melt soon.
Well, at least it lasted for a moment. There was a hint of kindness in his normally flat tone. He inclined his head to me, then turned and walked toward the main temple. As I watched him go, I could still feel the warmth of his hands on mine. Oh, it's adorable! How romantic! The snow bunny remained on Saito's windowsill until the snow melted. Nagakora and Heisuke saw it and laughed. Who knew, they said. Saito got so excited when it snowed that he made a snow bunny. I guess he was a kid once. If only they knew.